In this video, we'll be installing this outer tie rod end on this Ford F-150. Process will be the same for the passenger side. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and remove our front tire. Our vehicle has locks on every lug stud, so we're just going to remove those with the lock key. Alright, so starting here, we're going to remove our cotter pin. Now you can see this cotter pin looks like it's been in here a while. Anytime you remove a cotter pin, plan on replacing it with a new one. Your new outer tie rod will come with a new cotter pin. Alright, sometimes they don't want to come out. Just cut the end, pull them in the direction they will move. So our castle nut here is going to be a 7/8 socket. Now what we'll do with our castle nut is thread it all the way up to the top, but don't remove it. We'll grab a hammer, and we'll hit right here on our knuckle, try and drop our tie rod down. So now that we have our tie rod dropped down, we're actually just going to take this castle nut, tighten it up just a touch. All right, now that we have that movement kind of minimized, we'll work here on our adjustment. So here we have a bolt and a nut. The nut on the back side is going to be a 16. The bolt on the front side is going to be a 9/16. We're going to loosen this up. Now that should be good. This is basically pinching this nice and tight so it can't go forwards or backwards. So we don't need to fully remove it, but you do need to loosen it up so you can unscrew your tie rod. So now what we're going to do is take off our castle nut. Now remember, your ball joint on your tie rod end is free here. The only thing holding this in place is the other end. So just be careful it doesn't swing down and hurt anyone. So now with our tie rod loose, we're going to remove this and unscrew it from this sleeve. So we have a pair of locking pliers here. It's going to help us. And as we turn this out, we're going to count full rotations. So every time it turns and this ends up right back here, it's going to be one rotation. You're going to count that until it comes out. When we put our new one in, we'll spin it in and we'll thread it in. The same amount of turns we took this one out. Okay, now for our outer tie rod end, again, we're going to spin this in. The amount of turns you spun out your old one, our amount will be different. Go ahead and count those turns in. You want full rotations so that the ball joint is facing up and your knuckle. That will be one rotation. Once you have your tie rod end spun in, the amount of turns you need, go ahead and put it into your knuckle. And we can put our castle nut on. Okay, so now let's tighten up our adjustment sleeve here. We're going to get this snugged up and then we'll torque it down. So we're going to tighten these down to 35 foot-pounds. Okay, now on to our castle nut. So we're going to snug up our castle nut and then we'll torque it down. We're going to torque down our castle nut to 55 foot-pounds. So So what we're looking for now is the hole where we're going to put our cotter pin through. We're going to make sure that the castle nut grooves line up with that hole. Now for us right now, we have this piece here blocking our hole, so we're going to continue to tighten until that hole becomes visible. And we'll take our new cotter pin, put it through the hole, and bend back the remaining piece of the cotter pin. After finishing this installation, it's important to have an alignment done on your vehicle. All right, so we've gone ahead and snugged up our lug nuts in a crisscross pattern. When we drop our vehicle down to the ground, we'll torque these down. So now we're going to torque down our lug nuts. We're going to torque them down to 100 foot-pounds. We're going to do it in a crisscross pattern. Now this vehicle has locks on every lug, so looks a little different than normal. And that's it.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.